Disclaimer. Please forgive me now, for there will be mispronunciations in this video. Zombies. Once known as mind-controlled by Haitian shamans to the Walking Dead. What we know of zombies now differs from what they once were. But are there zombies existing currently? Here are 8 real-life mind controllers making zombies out of their victims. The parasitic wasp. Parasites are legendary at manipulation and can exert chemical mind control over their victims. In Japan, this is no different, where a female Reclinovirus nielseni wasp grabs a hold of an orb-weaving spider, lays its eggs on the arachnid, and flies away. The spider will continue its life until the eggs hatch and the wasp larvae emerge. The larva injects its host with a potent venom that zombifies the spider by hijacking its nervous system. The young wasp forces the 8-legged zombie to get to work building a new web. Once the web is complete, the larvae eats the zombified seamstress. The victim's spider changes its web design to best suit its larvae host. These webs are both stronger and more obvious, allowing it to reduce damage from collision with flying insects or falling leaves, increasing the larvae's odds of survival. The larvae webs also glow brightly when viewed in ultraviolet light. Researchers suspect that the wasp larvae injects their host with chemicals that mimic hormones the spiders produce naturally to trigger the resting web building behavior. A tweak in the formula could force the spider to obsessively go over the same spots to reinforce the web and add the extra UV addition. After the web is designed, the spider rests in the center of the web where it waits to be eaten by the larvae. Toxoplasma gondii. This parasite is a unique one as it reproduces in cats, but can infect rodents from eating infected cat feces. The parasite wishes to get back to its original host, so it causes a little behavioral change in the rodent. It has been seen and studied that the infected rodents are less averse to cat odors and increases their chance to get caught by the cat and most likely eaten, bringing the parasite back to its original host. Other mammals can be infected by ingesting infected substances or even get it from getting a cut by an infected cat if they have faint hints of feces on their claws, including humans. Rodents aren't the only species that seem to undergo a behavioral change, as gray wolves that eat the feces of an infected cougar exhibit risky behaviors as well. They abandon their packs to form a new one, or asserting themselves as pack leaders, which can lead into vicious fights and may lead to death. But that's not all. The Toxoplasma gondii has been responsible for schizophrenia and depression in humans. This sucks for me since I am schizophrenic and have lived with cats my entire life. For all I know, that's how I could have been diagnosed with the disorder. Who knows? Another interesting tidbit is that I used to be allergic to cats and no longer am. Could I be infected with this parasite and it change me in a way I am no longer allergic to cats so that I may be closer to them? Interesting little theories, but onward. Brain-insisting trematode. The Yuha plorchis californiensis parasite's life cycle is on the shorebird, horned snail, and then the killifish. After sexually reproducing and finishing its life cycle in a shorebird, its eggs are released in the bird's droppings. Horned snails eat the droppings as they graze and act as the first intermediate host. The parasites that inhabit the snail will castrate it. They then replicate asexually inside the snail. As the larvae mature, they break out of the snail and swim in the water until they find their second intermediate host, the killifish. Now that it is inside the killifish, the parasite alters the fish's behavior to make it 30 times more likely to be caught by a bird and eaten, completing the life cycle of the parasite. Dicrosium dendriticum. Ants are more popularly a host of the parasitic fungus cordyceps. Before this time, we are bringing up a different trematode, the Dicrosium dendriticum. The ant is the second intermediate host after a snail. with its primary host being cattle or livestock. Ants use snail trails as a source of moisture, and doing so can ingest the parasite cyst, full of juvenile flukes, and become infected. Most of the parasites stay in the ant's main body cavity while they mature. However, some travel to a cluster of nerve cells near the ant's esophagus. This is where they can manipulate the ant. At dusk, the air cools and the sun retreats. The infected ant leaves its colony, goes to find a tall grass stem, clamps its mandibles, and stays there until dawn. At dawn, the ant regains control of itself and goes about its normal business, mostly retreating from the sun, which can be a death for the ant and the parasite. When night falls, it repeats the behavior. It does this until it's eaten by grazing cattle from on top of the grass stem. Humans can also get infected from eating undercooked infected animal liver. This leads to a pseudo-parasite infection, but this is temporary. The parasite survives in the intestine, but is released from the body by defecation. For a more serious infection, you'll need to have eaten the 2 intermediate hosts, snails or ants. The emerald cockroach wasp. The emerald cockroach wasp bites into a cockroach to turn the innocent bug into the victim of a brutal assault and kidnapping. The venom of the wasp renders the cockroach unable to move. However, the cockroach is not paralyzed. The cockroach is immobilized, giving the wasp the advantage of implanting a single egg into the cockroach's abdomen and drag it into the wasp lair. After some time, the larvae hatches and eats the still living but zombified cockroach from the inside out. A month later, the now mature wasp flies away from the scene and repeats the process. Cordyceps. Ophiocordyceps unilateralis is a pathogenic fungus that preys on carpenter ants. The fungus infects the ant and uses chemical signals to direct the ant on a strange path. The now mind-controlled ant leaves its colony and begins to climb a nearby tree, taking a jaw grip on the underside of a leaf where it stays. The ant dies as the fungus spreads around the ant's body, and the fungus produces a stalk from the dead zombie's head from which the spores are released, intending to infect more ants. Sacculina barnacle. A female Sacculina barnacle, also known as the crab hacker barnacle, finds the soft tissue at a crab's joint to burrow into, leaving its old barnacle body behind. Once inside, the barnacle will look like a tumor, extending tendrils through the crab's body and slowly eating its host. It kills the sex organs of its host and bores a hole through the crab's shell, inviting male barnacles to come and mate, forcing the crab to babysit its babies. According to the Smithsonian Institution, barnacle will manipulate the crab in taking care of the barnacle like it's its own offspring. The crab will protect, groom, and waft it with fresh oxygenated water. Hymeneomyscus argyrifica. Like the recliner Velis nielseni wasps, this wasp plants its larvae inside the Costa Rican Leucozagira spider, and like the Japanese wasp, the spider is rewired into building a web constructed in a silk cocoon, which becomes a home for its killers. When the silk sac is done, the larvae kills the spider and takes up the residence in the cocoon. These zombies are a part of nature, and not so much as supernatural as the ones we either like to believe in or not. What do you think of these masters and zombies? Did you like this video? Want to support this channel and get early access? Feel free to check out my Patreon page where I create content on cryptid hauntings, alien abductions, serious killers, and much more. If you can't support me there, like, comment, subscribe here.